A pleasant good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our main followers and television viewers of LNTV Liberia Live and ELBC 99.9 FM. My name is Masiami Kone and I'm coming to you live at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So today MICAT press briefing will be addressed by Honorable Jeremy Mafi Bia, Ministers of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So I'd like to encourage you to stick and stay as us bringing full coverage of this press briefing.
Let me again welcome you and thank you for coming in the Charles Press Hall, where our regular press briefing takes place. This afternoon, I'd like to recognize the Deputy Minister for Administration, Honorable Kaba, the Assistant Minister for Technical Services, Honorable Paul, Daniel Sando, and the arrowhead of the ministry, the Chief Administrator, Honorable Limit Masukia. This afternoon, I'd like to inform you that the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism in the Olympic Masukia will address today's press briefing. The Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs, the Deputy Spokesperson will come and make a welcome statement, after which we will officially invite the Chief Administrator of the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism on the national podium. I have the distinguished honor to invite my boss, Daniel Sando, who will mount the national podium.
So that was the voice of Lawrence M. Family. He's the acting 16th Minister of Information Services. Next is Honorable Daniel Otesano, Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good afternoon to distinguished members of the senior management team of the Ministry of Information. Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to Liberians who are following this edition of the MICAT regular press briefing across the country via radio stations and social media feeds. It's always a pleasure to have all of you here and out at the Ministry of Information to cover your press briefing. And as we climax the year 2025, the Ministry is working with government ministries and agencies to collate progress that they made from various sectors of the country. So that process is long, and to some extent, or greater extent, lacks ministries, agencies, representatives of government authorities. We are receiving those reports via email. Some have been sent physically to the ministry. We need them so that we can be able to catalog progress that the government has made over the last 2 years, so that our Liberians who are far in the year can be acquainted with the progressive trajectory of the country. Even for some of the people who are doubting policies, who say that nothing has changed, even though the writings on the wall are clear, but even the blind men to see that the country is on a irreversible path of progress and development. These updates from various ministries and agencies will help to guide the national conversation. We do so because we have a duty to communicate on behalf of the government. We also do so because we live in challenging times where people who used to be in charge of leadership of the country yesterday have now taken on for themselves the new role of being agents of bad news. Every day, they are very punctual in communicating negativity. So, when we have this information, we can effectively communicate with the public, and everybody can know the things that have been achieved by the government headed by His Excellency President Joseph White. We are grateful for the kind of leadership that we have that is operating the country. We're bringing the country from nowhere to somewhere. And in just 1 or 2 years, Liberians are being convinced that indeed the dividend of democracy is being realized. And across every sector, you can see that for yourself. And so, as a spokesman of the government, we have a duty. Keep this press conference going, make it more attractive. This is what the government of Liberia speaks from. All of you who come here to cover this press conference, we appreciate your time and the commitment that you give to the work that you do here. With that being said, today's press conference, the chief spokesperson of the government is the sole speaker. He has a dossier of information to release to you on the accomplishment of the Liberian government. He will do so extensively. You know the minister is a man of massive verbal persuasion. So when he speaks, he will always be ready to entertain questions and members of the protest to provide further clarity on issues, on areas where there will be doubt. So you entertain your questions after the presentation, then we'll provide answers to the questions. That is the scope of the press conference today. So I would now want to encourage all of you to please, the time for the press conference is 12 o'clock. Maybe we'll have 5 to 10 minutes delay. All of you here are responsible. It is very much uncalled for to be calling you to borrow every day. Your news entity sent you here to represent them. The scene where you can see President Donald Trump interacting with the journalists at the White House, the scene where you are here. So you have to take your work seriously. You can't come on a national platform where the whole country is listening to your phone, speaking Chinese, also draconian sound to cause distraction. It's now welcoming. So please turn those phones on silent. As announced them on existing protocols for invite our distinguished minister to the microphone.
So we just listened to Honorable Daniel Otesano, he's the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs. This is Honorable Jerome Pierre, Ministers of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So once again, if you are just joining us, I would like to say welcome. This is ELBC 99.9 FM.
So the disruption starts between those of you who are here. There should be a kind of core of the press conference. I really believe the movement is too much. There was an understand once or last night getting out because you want to use a Bible. There's no more the thinking process that when you get into it, whatever you're getting, what we want to do in the plan of paper. But if the reason why most of you go emphasize to use the Bible, and if you don't go that, but it is it. Belong. So yesterday I took time off to visit the premises of the Liberia Broadcasting System as chair of the board of directors. We have followed the news with allegations that many different things are happening at LBS. One of them being the fact that they're running a casino, quote unquote. As a board, we drive the ship. But like I said, we visited yesterday. And we can say that there is no such thing like LBS or casino. So that allegation is incorrect. We didn't go there just for that. We also wanted to inspect the huge projects that have been taking place there with regards to the new broadcast complex that will host radio and television. And we are exceedingly pleased to note that that project has progressed so impressively, and it is at the point of getting the finishing touches done so that the Liberia Broadcasting System operates on a new broadcast complex. Something we hope will enhance operational efficiency, provide comfort for the employees of the system, thereby impacting their work habits and productivity. We will continue to thank the government of the People's Republic of China, not just for the LES initiative, but everything that they're doing for us. Right now, you notice the overpass has commenced and is moving very progressively. The reference laboratory construction has also advanced impressively. And so we're glad we have the ministerial complex that accommodates multiple government institutions. We have in the middle of the forest in our county a major hospital that is servicing people from maybe the Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, and other places, all marks of the People's Republic of China. So having toured LBS yesterday and seeing the work being done on the broadcast complex, we can only continue to say to the government of the People's Republic of China that we are grateful. The strength that rain is still falling and falling heavily in your different communities again. Leading up to today, this morning, really as though we are not in November. These are all maps of climate change. And they are having some impact on our development initiative because we are set and ready to initiate massive infrastructure activities across the country, mainly in the area of roads. The fact that the rain continues at the rate it is a problem, but that has not stopped the beginning process from the lower level. So currently, places around the city where there are potholes and other beaches across the street, the repair process for those are ongoing as we speak currently. If you just walk down the road, past the Ministry of the Mines and close to Musipura building on your right there, you see that a huge portion of that road was almost non-existent. It's been corrected. I moved around the other day on SKD Boulevard. I met parts that were not good at being restructured. And so those kinds of work are ongoing while we look forward to the big one. Once the rain can give us a chance. So the better initiatives are on course. LEC, ILEC, the Ministry of Public Work on the LERC initiative is expanding streetlights across the city. It's now going to places that go community, Claratown, Jamaica Road, Momotown, Banjo, just everywhere we have streets and Liberians living. Those lighting projects will expand there. The last time I spoke here, I made reference to my own community that I've not seen electricity for the last 35 to 14 years. All of the little streets in that part of our country now got streetlights. When I used to arrive home around 11 o'clock, you would see nothing but utter darkness and hardly find anyone being on the street. The streetlights were deployed right at the junction before bending into where I live. Some group of young people immediately came and erected a little shop where they do tea, bread, and many stuff. And now when I'm going home, the very place I used to reach 11 o'clock and no human being is outside and is in utter darkness. When I'm passing by even 1 a.m., folks are assembled on that place, still doing business. That's why electricity does. Folks who are doing that now, they have a sense of livelihood. Somebody can wake up and say, even up to 12, 10 or so, they can say, oh yeah, I think the close to us, I'm going back here and pray. Just months ago, they couldn't do it because of the lack of electricity, utter darkness. So we're glad that electricity expansion is taking place. The next phase of the work that they are on there now is to do host-to-host connection. For example, I lived there since 2011. And since 2011, every night I go to bed, about the children product to sleep with generator on. You can think about that. If you put it to bed, minimum depending on the cost of the petroleum product, you put it to $15 per night. And you multiply that by the number of days in the month. You know what that is. So direct connection, that case will be different. You put your money in your meter, that's what you can use. And the current available for you. That is progress. On 2 years of the new administration. and we'll continue to make progress as we move on. Especially so now that in a historic way, we've moved our budget beyond $1 billion. That was a campaign message for some of the contenders in the election, that we should make them president. And the promise was that they would take our budget to $1 billion. It was not the sole reason why we wanted power. But we knew that we would do it. So we've done it not just reaching the $1 billion mark. We've done it at a $1.2 billion level. We take note of all the criticisms, because that's what the democracy calls for. All of the different people who got different thoughts and thinkings about what the budget is, what they would do, what they would not do, we want to say we've heard it. But we are intentional as a government and very deliberate about what we talk about doing. And we know also that the final judgment on what the budget is does not rest with us. What becomes an instrument called a budget that is deliberated upon starts from us. But what it finally becomes is constitutionally given to another branch of government as a check and balance system that have been created. So the budget is not before the national legislature. Because some political institutions that have problem with what they say is of the budget say, oh, we'll take the budget back. And we're wondering how come they don't know that even if you have things that you disagree with the budget, it is where it is, and those who now have it are the ones who got constitutional authority to fix it. And if you are a political party that was in governance yesterday, and you don't know that, and say because of the observations you have, if you take the budget back, then we're constrained to remind them not only of what the law calls for, but what happens on their own eyes and nose. We're questioning the debt situation as reflected in the budget. When you took 83 million from the reserve just to pay civil salary, something that should not have been done. And it's becoming appalling that every reaction to what other people will do is considered attack. I was reading the front page of Africa this morning, and their reaction to our statement signed by Deputy Minister Sando was that we spent time on several lines in the reaction attacking rather than addressing the issue of the national people. If every disagreement with what you say, if every correction to what you say that is not true is considered an attack, then you don't belong in the political space, because that's too much unnecessarily war crime. You can be in a political space and all you do is just cry. Everything people say, you call it attack, you call it insult, you call it this, you call it that. Then politics is not your place. Found a church house or a mosque to be a preacher man. But if you're in this space, the wolf crying does not do the trick. It's a healthy conversation that enhances democracy, and we should live with it. So we just provided some correction to say, oh, these things you say are not true, they're not right, this is how it should be, this is why it should be. It does not work, because when you issue those kinds of comments that we saw from them, and nothing is said, especially so if it's impugned with misinformation, then we allow misinformation to sink in the public. And that will also mean that we're not doing our work. Just think about it. Somebody submits a budget on behalf of the government. You got concerns about what the budget is. And the person who wants to be president says, arrest the people who submitted that budget. Why is that? Are they giving us a signal that after we give them political power, that what they will do arbitrarily arrest for things that we not call for the arrest? When you say something about this, somebody will say, oh, it's not a time. I'm a podium here. So drink water is my responsibility. Each of you sit down with drink when you feel thirsty. But somebody is worried that we have to play for not drinking water. The water, how about it? If we want to bring it out of business. So these kinds of triviality that people run with, they are becoming concerning, especially for people who crave it to be leaders at the highest level of our country. I'm just afraid of what kind of a bureau that we have. When the executive mansion, the Capitol building, the Temple of Justice, ministries and agencies will all be turned into five-star hotels. So we frame on the budget, the budget has been submitted, the government has done, the executive has done its part. It's not in the hands of the people's deputies. And when they do their part, it comes back to a point where the president has an authority. Because he now can sign the budget. He can refuse to sign it and veto it. It goes back. Both forces, conference committee, etc., etc. Again, we found a solution, but again, we've done our part in the time before the legislature to be there. So you all are aware that the Ministry of Public Works have laid out a new date for the completion of the RIA road. We said it the other day, we dealt with the re-emphasized. So you can hold us by it. So when it doesn't happen, you say, oh, they took a lot. But they told they all going to happen, this what happened. 2027 ended. The truth is, the road will actually finish long before that time. But in engineering terms, they have a period that is normally provided for what they call default liability. That's the term you use, so just evaluate what has been done on your behalf. Identify mistakes and errors, and whatever it is, and then they have some time to correct it. And when they do so, you go by and review, everybody believes that everything that's supposed to be done has been done, and you declare that the project is complete. In the tenure of the Ministry of Public Works, all of that can be taken care of within that period, leading towards the end of 2027. Of course, we mentioned to you also the other day about what will be happening from Ghana to Saye, up to Banjama, from Nkoma coming our way, what will be happening from Kano to Seston Junction, which is the beginning of a landmark intervention that will start the process of building a coastal highway. We call it coastal highway because it's a road that will run from coast to coast, taking into consideration the coastal counties. Basel is one, Riverside is one, San Luis, all these are coastal counties. So the road leading along that corridor to link you to the final place, it can be referred to as coastal highway. So when you have a coastal highway, that's what it means. And be a substantive way, this government is commencing that. With the first batch of the road that will start from Kano City when those kinds of corridors are worked on as we want to, they will enhance economic and social development in that region of the country. They will improve access to services, will facilitate trade, and can ensure that such areas will become agricultural hubs so that we can be self-sufficient in food production as a nation. We also have secured funding for the entire 380 kilometers that runs from Delta to Fishtown in Liberia County and beginning this dry season. Pavement will commence. More so, the government has contracted 4 companies, and by the next dry season, pavement across the entire southeastern corridor will be on track, and that will make the entire southeastern region of the country fully connected to the nation's capital. The Ministry of Internal Affairs has initiated a conference of chiefs, which starts today, and they will run for 3 days. The President is expected to join them eventually tomorrow. That gathering is expected to be one of the largest assemblies of chiefs in recent years, and they will aim to strengthen collaboration between the national leadership of the country and our traditional governance system. It is a partnership that has been described as being long overdue, but it's essential for national renewal. There will be about 287 paramount chiefs across the 15 counties, in addition to 150 clan chiefs, alongside tribal governors representing all of the tribes in Liberia. That conference has been here on the team bringing us together, and that echoes the President's desire to unite the country through dialogue, reconciliation, and shared cultural values. While there, the President will hold open consultations where chiefs can present grievances, hopeful recommendations, and local developmental priorities. We will hold a special dinner for the President eventually. Around Basso County, particularly MICAT, the county of my origin, designated for up to 300 megawatts power plant. And in that light, a high-profile delegation comprising of government officials, senior executives of the Liberia Electricity Corporation, and international energy investors are currently conducting a comprehensive site assessment inquiry to get up to this facility. The mission forms part of an ongoing exploratory effort for a proposed 150 to 300 megawatt gas power plant, a project poised to transform Liberia's energy landscape and enhance regional power integration. If implemented, will supplement LEC's drive for reliable, accessible, and sustainable power supply to Liberia. As you may all be aware, the National Road Fund, for the first time, recorded revenue up to 31 million for a year, single year, the highest in the history of that entity. This milestone, the achievement was announced as a country opened the 27th General Assembly of African Road Maintenance Fund Association in Monrovia. The road fund manager, Josita Nivelito, highlighted renewed focus on road development, transparency, and innovative financing. Liberia's own development plan includes over 1,000 kilometers of roads and advancing regional connectivity to Freetown, Abidjan, and Conakry. 2 new mechanisms for the Ministry of Transport, an axle load control power raised 70,000 in just 4 months. And an escrow-based revenue collection system is established as well. Delegates from several African countries are attending the conference. In a significant step towards enhancing regional security, the government of Liberia, through the Liberia National Police, and the government of Sierra Leone, through the Sierra Leone National Police, have signed a memorandum of understanding to deepen security cooperation across the Mano River region. The MOU establishes a framework for cross-border collaboration, focusing on intelligence sharing, joint training initiatives, and coordinated operations to combat transnational crimes such as human and drug trafficking. The agreement aims to strengthen law enforcement agencies' own capacity to protect the citizens in both countries, prevent crimes, maintain stability, and promote regional peace. By forging this partnership, Liberia and Sierra Leone reaffirmed their commitment to building a safer, more resilient communities and tackling shared security challenges. The Civil Service Agency, the CSA, on Wednesday, November 19, commissioned the first batch of onboarding teams to begin onboarding civil servants onto the legal power of attorney platform, formerly known as Liberia Pay After. Day 1 of the exercise commenced at the EJL Ministerial Complex, targeting the first group of 5 ministries and agencies, to include the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Commerce, as well as the Civil Service Agency itself. The onboarding teams are expected to continue the process at their different institutions through the end of the week, with additional ministries and agencies scheduled to be involved. Liberia gets a regional vote of confidence with regards to anti-money laundering. The Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa is convening its 44th Technical Commission at plenary meeting in Monrovia. That meeting started. President Waka provided a keynote address this morning. That meeting, which is held twice a year, is a major gathering of stakeholders in the fight against money laundering and financing. It aims to promote discussion among technical experts from member states in West Africa on the threats and challenges relating to fight against economic and financial crimes in the sub-region. It also allows us to address relevant issues that require a concerted and harmonized approach to the effective implementation of anti-money laundering and combating of financial terrorism measures. The discussion will focus on follow-up reports for the second round of mutual evaluation of member states, including Mali, Niger, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Also, on the agenda of the 44th Technical Commission and plenary meeting is the closed-door regional forum of Financial Intelligence Unit, a special session led by the United Nations Office of Counterterrorism of the United Nations Counterterrorism Center, the election of the Bureau of the Presidency of the Technical Commission, the Director General's summary activity report, among others. The United Nations Development Program, the UNDP, is finalizing an agreement with the University of Liberia to introduce Liberia's first ever master degree program in artificial intelligence to be offered at the University of Liberia. The landmark collaboration to introduce the master degree program followed the signing of a standard letter of agreement between the UL and the UNDP in August of this year, marking the commencement of a transformative partnership aimed at promoting innovation, technology, and strategic development in Liberia. The program aims to equip students with advanced digital skills and position Liberia as a leader in regional digital transformation. Additionally, the partnership will establish an innovative center at the UL Federal Campus, expanding on the successful UNIPO initiative to create a vibrant hub for creativity and technological advancement. The World Bank Country Office has released a 6th edition of its annual Liberia Economic Update titled From Stabilization to Inclusion, a pathway to resilient growth and productive jobs. The report, focusing on Liberia's recent economic development with significant improvements, analyzed the status of the private sector and how it can be strengthened to deliver productive jobs. The Liberia Economic Update is a World Bank report series produced once a year that assesses recent economic and social development and prospects considering global and medium-term context. It examines and sheds light on the emerging and selected policy issues and medium-term development challenges facing Liberia. The LWSSC, the Liberia Water Seaward Corporation, has started massive rehabilitation works to restore pipe and sustainable water access in Zwedru, Flevo, and Greenville City. These are cities that saw pipe water since 1990. They are faced severe water supply challenges due to the non-existence of water infrastructure, coupled with population growth and unreliable urbanization. With funding from the government of Liberia sourced on the REST agenda, LWSC is doing a comprehensive rehabilitation and expansion of the water supply system, integrating solar power solutions in the cities, and ensuring sustainable, reliable, and safe water access. Directly supporting public health, economic productivity, and rural-urban development. The project will modernize the existing water infrastructure in Swedru and Greenville and construct new water supply system in Pleasant. The project, when completed, will serve over 30,000 residents, commercial and institutional users, scaling up to 60,000 by 2035. It will also reduce waterborne diseases and boost economic productiveness in the region. In Swedru, the water supply rehabilitation aims to restore 10.18 kilometers of damaged wetlands, reconnect over 600 households and 100 new connections, replace vandalized pipes and pumps, electrical system, chlorination units, while enhancing a solar hybrid power system to ensure sustainability. For Greenville, the elderly SC will rehabilitate and expand water system for the city's develop and construct a 17.14 kilometers of new transmission and distribution lines. Rehabilitate the 350 meter square elevated storage tank, install iron removal and chlorination system, and solar power plant with power generators. In Plibo, to experience the drill of 3 high-yield boreholes for solar power pumps, the construction of a 350 meter square steel water tower, lay 10 kilometers of distribution pipelines, and establish 200 plus household connections. The National Transit Authority started to release the new buses, and I could just see through the eyes of faith that some of the handful of people who were entering the buses. That's a paradox. You get angry about something and you want to first get around it. The other day we were on a football field to formally turn on the floodlight. And when the speaker turned the light on, you know, in such a darkness and the nature of the light, it was just a creation where God said, let there be light, and there was light. And the place erupted into celebration. Then we realized a small group of people in something like one of the place, boo, boo. But at the highest of elevation of the cheering, the vanished in thin air. But I just said the question, who gets angry and who are progress? What is happening to people who doing that? I was just looking at the press structure and coming from somewhere along the Ralphie Highway side to straight across street. The fare was $450 LD. In the MTA arrangement, it's $150. Just think about that for a minute. Somebody who's supposed to come to town, they have some reason to come to town, whether for school, for work, for whatever. Maybe they're doing it 5 days a week, or 6 days a week. Minus $150 from $450. You got $300 there. It means that the person who are coming to town 5 times a week is 300 times 5. How much is that? 1,005. That the person was already spending every week cannot be used to do something else. Because at 450 they were spending all the time to come to town has been reduced to just 150. If that does not fit into all the laws about bread and butter, then what it is? People coming from far distances and they're paying $50. That's what the MTA is calling for. So they have the new press structure, and the buses are available there in the street. Watching one of the naysayers, they did a video. And according to them, in their video, they say the bus was twisted. Look at the bus is making noise for. In the video, the person giving narration. It is the 2 days the fee. Then they start seeing the body buses for the boy. $10,000 per bus. Jesus Christ. Even renting cars in Europe, Asia, anywhere, you can say 10,000. So that tells you where some people are. Vexed about everything. Finding ways to make it negative. It's okay. When you tell your own and they say, go, be frightened. The society cannot choose to be negative. This morning I was reviewing the papers. And I saw my home begin Kura Thompson. The whole story he told for the MICAT president. Is what? MICAT go up, one employee talk about welfare. Now Kura Thompson whole story. When these things can carry us, plenty people came and talk to the people. The only thing you're looking for, you got one in that kind of hard question I want to story that. Hey, correct. And the other people you doing it as well, man. But that's all right, that's part of the democracy. Somebody who is not even a sign yet. I just saw one thing running around and saying, treating your body, you're in a appalling condition. How did the person even surface to where they were before? Margaret, who works with that entity, says now they will go. Tell the person to go there. One day, the first day the person comes. That's how journal is. Let's do better for our country. Most of the things we're talking about are about us. I'm almost 60. I don't have my age. Many of you are still young. Making the country better is about you. Not the man who already walking into his final joint. Because we human beings, we bathe, we are born, we grow, you have die. You can't escape it. You know anybody can die, including young baby. But the one whose aging is going gradually to the end of his stay here. You holding off after constant, you are expected to be here longer. Don't join people to demonize the country. Because the demonization of the country keeps it backward. If the country is backward, you live in it, you can't be different. Everything will be backward. You have a leader who's honestly striving. Nobody is perfect. We're not creating any heavens yet. But we're making honest strive to change what has been the issues yet. People inherited MTA with just 2 batting buses. Through their own innovation, they made about 11 functional. Because they got some spare part, they were working. Now they're adding a fleet of up to 60. And as I'm driving to work, coming, people comfortably seated. I hope they can maintain it because in those buses, I think it's fan system or air condition, whatever it is. We have that comfort. If we improve our maintenance history, we can keep that going. People who are being stuck out in little buses, sweating profusely. And you know some of the diseases about one of us as human beings can be spread through their sweat. You don't know what kind of sickness like they're just keeping together their sweat texture. I'm told that one of the ways hepatitis B can be spread. You know somebody got hepatitis B yesterday and it's these interventions will change that. But they're making somebody angry. So from Red Dead straight to Broad Street, that was happening there $50. Number 4 people to come. Red Dead to Buchanan Street, $50. Douala to Buchanan Street, $50. New Georgia to Broad Street, $50. Palmersville to Broad Street, $50. From Abel to Monroe, $150. Boys Town to Broad Street, $150. From Poor River to Douala, $50. From Monroe straight to Zwed, $4,500. Wow. To Banda, $400. To Buchanan, $300. To Bowarasa, $500. To Ganta, $500. Straight to Fonjama, $3,500. To Secular Pier, $950. To Sunny Point, $900. From Primo to Hapon, $100. To Blackpool, $500. This is transformative. Like it or not. But here are some of the other positives that people are not talking about. They've adopted a policy where some people will be free riders. Not only that those who are paying cheap money, but some people will be free riders. And at present, that free ride policy applies to national security personnel who are in uniform. They have ID to be identified. So persons living with disability and to children under the age of 5. Free welfare system, somewhere. The MTA wants to also inform us citizens that they are discussing currently to expand the list of eligible groups that can ride free in the coming months. And those under consideration include senior citizens who are 65 and above, medical practitioners, if you can celebrate this thing, there's something happening.
The journal will be there.
But it makes sense. Absolutely, it makes sense. As somebody who worked in this sector dealing with journalists for the past decade, I know the institution some of you work for don't even pay you $50. Probably the highest paid journalist in this room would be $75 or $100.
You're going far.
It's too high? Go for true? Yes. Le Polo, how much you making? You see that? You want no government official salary, you say transparency. But you, the agent of transparency, want higher salary. It's not a long way to go as a country to fake money problem. But there's some people here making plenty money as you claim. Yeah.
And start now. Yeah.
By the way, we are just trying to establish the fact that our country is making progress. Challenges remain. We're confronting them head on. We're very convinced that we will overcome. And by the time you go to your next election where you have a choice to choose what you want, you will be able to look back and say it wasn't easy. It's when you go here and inquire, you know that song. It wasn't easy, but what? You will say that. And many of our people who are in difficult places sitting and trying to reincarnate the imagination of sitting by the rivers of Babylon, where you are required to sing the Lord's song in a strange land. The people will come. And you'll be able to come back to your motherland because you have conditions improved. And rather than sinking by the rivers of Babylon, you'll be sinking oil, Liberia. The journey is on. We, as a ministry, have the obligation to come and take the journey that is supposed commentators will do at a football match. But no matter how we commentate the game, without you, nobody hears the commentary. And that's how important your role is. Be truth tellers. Don't see by and have it. But don't be disingenuous and mischievous. Because if you do so, and it impacts the country negatively, you are not hanging in the sky. You hear it. And anything that happens here will also impact you. So we want to take a rest from here and allow for the normal. I got many issues that we talked about. We have some updates in the health sector, but I wanted to also be able to engage. So we leave the health sector issue until the next press conference day. You see this volume of people writing in my hand, and the other things we still here to talk about. But it's already 1:22. We have to take questions. LBC will leave on time to get the news. So we continue from where we start on Thursday. But we can now rest and allow you to ask your questions.
So we just listened to Honorable Jeremy Matthew, Ministers of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So once again, if you are just joining us, I would like to say welcome. This is ELBC 99.9 FM. Keep following this is Questions and Answers by journalists.
His name is Jeremy Matthew. Yeah, he's the Minister of Information and Tourism. But let's now move to Aviation Services.
So many thanks to disappear for update. But I want to use the time to, just maybe call the government attention to this. Part of talking about government issues and some national issues. And then in time, in the night, you have a very clear, environment in terms of the line and all of that. But when you cross the bridge, leaving from Vada straight to New Georgia Junction, even going to New Georgia to Vanessa, the entire place that is the government informed about this? If so, what is the government doing to make that sound like St. John? Thank you.
My name is Joseph Seli, and I'm writing for the news newspaper.
You know that regional TV.
The minister, you provided updates on your visit at PLBC. And I want to know, is the board concerned with the viral video from the Director General? Because the state broadcast incorporation is an institution that includes every agreement, all of which political party or who you support. Is the board concerned? And key to that, is there any contract between the LBS and an institution called Blue Star Military Group? Is there any contract between them to use a space of ELBC to carry on their job, since you said you have conducted your own investigation, so you went there, there's no gambling center at that place? And third and lastly, the head of this Civil Servant Association of Liberia president talked about salary increment, and he said why the government should now focus on including everybody and not just elected few. How concerned is the government with that? Because looking at it, you are insisting that the government are putting the place to include both civil servants. Are you guys anticipating of increasing the salary of both like because that was one of the key messages of the government during the election? Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Jackson Alex Yafa, and I report to a scientific site from newspaper. Mr. Minister, you spoke well, but the public will be in doubt about the total cost of the new NTA buses. And another concern I've listened to during these few days is that people have been complaining that the same fare, the public transport, the Caribbean, as the people usually call it, the same fare that people are taking is the same fare. That's $50 from New Jersey, Banana to Central Monrovia. And that's the same fare NTA is taking. What's the difference about it? The last question here is about the budget. What is your government doing to make sure that there will be no shortfall? Thank you.
What's your name?
Jackson Siapa. My name is Moses David for Thank you for never written on government development and also aligning local national issues. My concern have been drawn to the issue of the purpose on the major road. Over the past time, we observed people applying the road leading from Canada, the Moroccan Canada Highway. We observed top government officials applying that road to travel to the nearby counties. But the issue about the purpose causing the extraction and accident, even leading to all people losing their life. If you check, if you apply the road from Morocco, somewhere around division 20N on the Canada Morocco Highway, there was a purpose there causing serious extraction. And even at time, if people applying that road, the moment they enter the purpose, they cause extraction at the time, entire fire. So what are the measures the government of Liberia put in place in order to eradicate the purpose on that road?
Good afternoon, I'm RS today. I report for Legend News Africa. I have for the first time Legend News Africa. Yes. Yeah, so, Mr. Minister, thank you for the development. But I have for the first time a recommendation to national government saying the policy that is to be instituted where there will be facilities to have a funeral. So my recommendation is that though the security people they are providing services, but they too they are earning salaries every month in. So part of that I want to recommend to national government that the security people be thinking and that pregnant women should be prioritized. Thank you.
You should remove the security from there.
Yes. Yes.
Now they can look for you.
My name is Preston Williams. I report for Democratic Watch newspaper. Mr. Minister, I just to the future spokesperson of the government. It is important for we as members of the folk estate to highlight the president's speeches, especially when it is necessary. The president made a remark on the first opening of the Reform Conference, and part of what the president said, two things I capture. One is that the negotiation period of obtaining road contracts is it's too long to the extent African presidents have six years in office. You negotiate for almost 4 years. When they get secured, sometimes 2 years left, you cannot complete the project. So he was also talking about the African development reform should see our best to expand on that, to revisit the two projects. And that also, the issue about giving two contracts, as in giving one continent to almost 10 to 5 kilometers of stretch, which is, in his opinion, that it could be the delay of the road being completed at a particular period. So I'm interested to know as to whether, considering most of our road projects in Liberia, they are donors, they are loan from the African Development Bank and that of the World Bank. Is the government probably concerned to do an official, maybe official recommendations to World Bank or African Development Bank to say, look, partners, can you revisit this agreement, especially this negotiation period, so that we as African presidents, we have 6 years so that we can be able to achieve on this road project. And last time, Mr. Minister, The few months back, I can remember a 4 months back when I asked you about those abandoned structures along the Rafi Highway, and you said you were going to get back to the public. I want to know whether you have reached out to the National Housing Authority, and what is the status of those structures, because they are still abandoned as I speak. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Darius Kanga, and the for OKF. Minister, can we commend the government for the comprehensive plan? But I'm concerned about the road between Puebla and Abazuke. Being I read the communication from the Gateway 3 law because according to me, it's the second time city communications was open to face that road. But yet it was still invite competition. How or where did otherwise stand to answer to this question? Thank you.
Leave on that side.
Please restate your question. I think
Where did the followers? Thank you. I leave that.
So we just listened to a question by journalists. This is response by Honorable Joel Rebecca Matthew Pierre, Ministers of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. So once again, if you are just joining us, I would like to say welcome to this live coverage. I'm coming to you live at the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism. Keep following.
I will keep my comments on your basis because tomorrow, at 11 o'clock, we will hold this meeting there on the other side. We will look at several issues with regards to the other side. And it's important to really get into like that also we have our board. My president yesterday, like I said, also see how far we are with the new broadcast complex, and also to see for myself the place being described as a casino, and to hold some little briefings with the leaders there, and also as a way of preparing for tomorrow's board meeting. So we'll leave it there. So a lay brother to ask this question was a lay brother. And when I'm going home in the night, I don't see utter darkness between Valtan to Freeport. I don't know about when you jump on the Somalia grass that got on there. I don't remember when last I passed there in the night. But when you're going straight down, yes, you may not have had the new solar lights that are lined up in central Monrovia, but there are a number of light poles around that road. I don't know what the source of the energy is, whether it's an AC lamp or what, but they on. Even the bridge itself, when I cross the bridge, every night the whole bridge is lighted. But the thing for you to know is the solar street light electrification that is currently going on is going everywhere. Everywhere. And they can go way in the bush inside G4 Road, and I even put that at Dusty Road. The street light is from the main road straight to the end, the place I give the place again they call G4. Then you know the Freeport Road, which is a major corridor, it's on the main street. It will also have lights. The lights will be everywhere. We got enough in the country to electrify everywhere. And another light that will be the Christmas light. Those lights can lifespan of between 13 to 25 years. Durable. We just got to play our own part as citizens. And I say so because you know sometimes when they put it in there, that the same citizen can go and take it down. Maybe they don't go set it as a strap or something. So if all of us play our part, the government put it there, citizen to help to protect it. Trust me, before the end of next year, you're not going to pass anywhere to see that. Maybe there are point we change from Liberia to be called the City of Light. Maybe. So we note your concern, but wherever we find the gaps, we'll resolve them as a government. We have intentionally evaluated all the options before we submitted the budget. The Finance Minister has assured the Cabinet that when the budget is passed within the scope that they have proposed, there'll be no budget shortfall. But let's say, since the legislature got the final power, let's say they take it from 1.2 billion to 1.4 billion. Probably on account of identifying other sources of revenue. Or reach out a point, then the Finance Minister also has to tell us, but I said they took it from there up over the middle to achieve the avoided budget shortfall. But one thing they've said, which I can say to you, is that what they submitted, that what is passed, they will raise the revenue. But just think about this. Government after government, there's always a recast of the national budget. Did you see a recast in here? Recast sometimes can be for a reason. The projections you made, you realize, well, you know you will not raise what you said you will raise. So when you say that the budget is low, when you do that, it means money you're supposed to go in different places, you know you're not achieving, so you come back and recast. The reason why we did not recast the budget was because the budget was performing and we knew we would meet the target. That's the first sign of improvement. So they evaluated the numbers, they check all the numbers, they check everything. They look at the sources of land that's supposed to contribute to that 1.2 billion budget. And then they say authoritatively we can raise this. We, who are members of the cabinet, members of the government, cannot doubt what the experts in the area have said. So we believe them and we think we can meet the target. Potholes, apparently up to what we're talking about, Chief, we acknowledge that there are places that have potholes. It's a normal thing, even in the West, those who live in the West. Because of the weather system there, you know, there's a whole period where they call it winter. So the car roads are covered by snow. The roads are not meant to keep snow, so it can cause some damage. So every time you graduate from winter to the other seasons, you do road maintenance work to include potholes, crack, cement or quota, everything. So frankly, part of the problem we've had in the past, which the current government is trying to resolve, is our maintenance record have been poor. Redland Cowell Road is being uprooted completely. They've rooted the whole quota out of rebuilding because you can't repair anymore. When the potholes were coming, if we were maintaining it every year, year after year, it would not have reached where it is for us to have the need to rebuild it. And that was one of the reasons why we established the road fund. The road fund was basically, or is basically meant to just maintain the road, including if there are potholes, if you want to add sidewalk to a road, etc., etc. But because it is performing, we can also expend some of the resources not only on maintenance, but on building roads. And we just said to you for the first time, they alone raised 31 million in one budget year, from way down to 14 million. So these are all indications that yes, we solve these perennial problems that we are facing all over the place. Larry said we should remove the security people, you know, president women. Yeah, it makes sense. The pregnant women factor really makes sense, but I don't know whether I will be in agreement with removing the security people. You know, one of the things that people do in America, the people who serve for the police, army, they treat them with so much respect. They have specialized hospital they call veteran hospital. Once you serve the army, you're not there anymore. They refer to you as veterans. They take care of you. You go to that hospital free. There are so many other benefits they give you free. The pay structure of those people very good. Our resources are not able us to pay the security people plenty of money. So if we give them opportunity, they think that free ride on national transport system, I think it's understandable. I agree with you that we are others, but I'm not sure we want to remove security. And you must have go to bed every night. We don't even know what happened ourselves. Many of them, they are at checkpoints where they sleep under the rain, under the cold, under the mosquito. While you and I are having fun time out there. This one, you see, a beggar does not have choice. When you ask the World Bank, you ask the African Development Bank, that they will give you their money to pay your roads. They got their requirement. What the president is saying is that if that requirement is too long, we're begging you to revisit to make it a little bit easier. So that the time we take to do just processes alone, can undermine our development drive. But at the same time, we can negate the fact that what they do for us is important. When we started building the road from Harper straight to Cleveland and down, all the way up to Fishtown, the African Development Bank support. All we want to do from Buchanan to Sester Junction and eventually to the entire southeast using the coastal side, the initial source of support we have is with the African Development Bank. And we're building the road from Monrovia straight to Buchanan City for the World Bank money. The same with the road leading from Monrovia to the Guinea border. So yes, we always need them. And we have to respect their own processes and procedures. We hope they listen to make some adjustments. But no matter how they adjust, they will always have those conditions to apply. And I think the message that President Parker is sending that make them better so that they can help fast track development. And if they listen, they're going to be fun not just for Europe, but for the entire African continent. Yes, I've seen the Portland Road, Comrade Darrows. It's a bad road. It's a part of the roads we want to fix. We're facing roadway in the bush because of a flood that right in Monrovia. That road will not remain like that up to the end of the dry season. It's going to be rehabilitated so that Liberians too who live there can enjoy the benefits of good roads. I think those are all the questions you asked. Thank you for coming. It is through you that we get our messages out. All the outlets are here. There's a good thing. State broadcaster, as always, doing a great job. Thank you, Charles, and your team. I forget the name except from Spoon. Tell me, man. Haji is always here. KTV.
Yeah.
And
The Homeland TV.
oh, the Homeland.
Quiz TV.
Chris TV.
Wiz.
Oh, Wiz. Who get it on? What? Global? Okay. And who get it on? Miracle TV. Who get it on? Well, Miracle. Who get it on? Royal TV. Who get it small one? The small one, I'm recording. What about the one?
White TV.
Huh?
White TV.
White? Oh, right. And who get it on? Oh, MICAT. The one. Oh, Aaron TV. Okay. There are two there. Oh, Scholar Africa. Yeah. I always see better things from you. Who get your own?
So this is because of the courses.
Okay. And you? Dominion TV.
Dominion. So what we're just trying to do, was not to make reference to only the ones that know, I wanted the public to know all of you who contributed to carry the thing live, to know your name, that's why I'm asking you. All of you jointly, thank you for the sacrifices you made to cover the press conference so that Liberian people can get. Mokula, see you on the camera. Oh.
Inside.
Okay.
All of them, no record. Inside, all of them.